I have the habit of traveling on my birthday so that when I recall those special days, I have the memory of the new places or new findings and new experience. Last year, I went to Hong Kong for my birthday week. Since it's not a new place for me, my travel plan focused on new findings and new experience. One afternoon, I took the subway to Lantau Island. While many on the train were going to Disney, I was heading to a fortress built in the 19th century during the Qing dynasty of China. This is Fort Tung Chung in Hong Kong. It is near the Hong Kong International Airport and Disneyland. It was a series of coastal fortresses built by the Qing government in the 19th century against the British. It gives us a glimpse of what coastal fortresses in the Qing dynasty looked like. Fort Tung Chung has 3 gates. What's unique is all 3 gates are in the front part of the fortress, which is at the foot of the hill. Each gate has its own name. Atop each gate, there is a watchtower. The wall of the fortress could be accessed from the stairs at the 2 corners in the front. There are 6 artilleries on the front wall. Although these are not the original ones, they're also from the 19th century. I'm very surprised that there is such well-preserved fortress in Hong Kong. Although the buildings inside the fortress have been demolished, the wall of the fortress is still continuous. And let me take you for a walk on the wall. The fortress lies on the hillside. The wall gradually rises up towards the peak of the hill. This looked so familiar to me. I had explored 7 coastal fortresses in China in recent years. Many were built this way. One of the 7 fortresses I visited was Fort Dapeng in Shenzhen City. In the Qing dynasty, Fort Dapeng was the base of the military forces guarding the eastern shore of the Pearl River estuary. In 1831, the brigade stationed in Fort Dapeng was split to 2. Half were mobilized to Lantau Island, which is closer to the mouth of the Pearl River, to fight against opium trafficking. Fort Tung Chung was built in 1834 to accommodate the troops. There is a very steep section leading to the real part of the wall near the peak of the hill. A typical Chinese fortress usually has 4 gates, but there is no rear gate in Fort Tung Chung. This fortress is the smallest military fortress I've visited in China so far. The side length of the wall is between 70 to 80 meters. With a perimeter of about 300 meters, it's even smaller than a standard sports field with a 400-meter track. Although the wall has some steep sections, it took me only several minutes to walk a lap.
475 soldiers were mobilized to Fort Tung Chung, while the rest of 495 stayed in Fort Dapeng. So the two fortresses at one point housed roughly the same amount of soldiers. But Fort Tung Chung is only 1/9 of the size of Fort Dapeng. In Fort Dapeng, there were offices for military officials, a granary for army provisions, mansions of top commanders, and even a temple of Mazu, the goddess of sea in China. There should have been buildings of similar functions in Fort Tung Chung. Unfortunately, today we can't figure them out from those abandoned buildings. In 1898, the Qing government was forced to lease the new territory that includes the Lantau Island to the British. Fort Tung Chung was abandoned. Five years after the construction of Fort Tung Chung, another fortress was built at the southwestern tip of the Kowloon Peninsula, the place which today is known as Tsim Sha Tsui. This fortress was also built with granite, and the gate looks just like that of Fort Tung Chung, with a watchtower on the top. If we look at the wall to the left of this gate, it looks like it's built in a hill. The famous British surveyor Collinson gave us the full picture of this fortress. It was indeed built in a hill by the seashore. The northern gate near the piers is the main gate. It's this one in the previous picture. From the northern gate on, the wall goes up to the peak of the hill. It's a typical Chinese fortress, just like Fort Tung Chung. However, if you look at this picture, there are 3 British soldiers guarding the gate. The fortress was occupied by the British during 1842 to 1856. Obviously, there's no fortress in Tsim Sha Tsui today, but part of the hill remains. Atop the hill is a Victorian-style building. The site now features a shopping mall, heritage hotel, and an exhibition hall. It's called Heritage 1881.
Heritage 1881. It was the former Marine Police headquarters. The Victorian-style building was constructed in 1881. It was constructed on an abandoned fortress.
How did the Chinese fortress turn into a Victorian-style building? I'll connect the dots for you. Right after the First Battle of the Opium War in 1839, a fortress was built at the southwestern tip of the Kowloon Peninsula. Its Chinese name was Chen Ying, which means to punish, to crusade. However, the Qing government wasn't able to punish the British. The British occupied Hong Kong Island, and the island was ceded in 1842. The Qing troops was forced to withdraw from Fort Chen Ying because British believed they posed a threat to the Hong Kong Island. After the Qing troops withdrew, the British occupied the fortress and renamed it Fort Victoria. In 1854, the fortress was destroyed. In 1865, the Hong Kong government constructed this building atop the hill as the Kowloon Police Office. In 1881, the foundation of this Victorian-style building was laid at this site. From Fort Chen Ying to Marine Police Headquarters, and now Heritage 1881, the change on this site reflected the history of Hong Kong from part of Xing'an County in Guangdong Province to British colony and now an international city where West meets East. Before this trip, while I was shopping in Harbor City like other tourists, I never imagined the area would be associated with an old fortress. Last year's trip definitely gave me a new experience, and the findings during the trip made my birthday week special. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Yan Yan. I make videos about sites of interest in China and histories and stories behind them. Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned to my other parts of the trip to Hong Kong.